Welcome everyone to our Q&A with Qlik webinar series. We are so excited to have all of you with us today for our November session, Management Console. So we're focusing on our cloud SaaS version to help administrators manage and maintain their Qlik Cloud environment. We don't have a ton of self-service resources out there on this topic, in my opinion. So I wanted to get one of our experts on the line to help clear up any questions you may have. This webinar series is a live question and answer session, or you may have seen us refer to it as our live open door office hours for Qlik Global Support. Essentially, we want you to ask us the questions by using the Q&A panel below. So feel free to start sending those questions in now as I get us started and go over a few parameters. Everyone is currently on mute, so that means you can see and hear us, but we cannot see and hear you. That's why we need you to type your question below in the Q&A session, or feel free to add any comments or resources in the chat feature as well. Our survey link will pop up when the session is ended. It is also shared as a QR code in this presentation. Let me bring that up real quick. Our survey session. So fill this out. Take out your phones, take a picture of it. It takes less than 10 seconds. This is how we find out what you like and what you don't like and how we can continue to make these sessions better. This will be also emailed this will be linked in an email a week from today that has the recording as well. So hello to all of those who are watching this recording at a later time. Thank you for joining us. You can always ask questions where this is posted, and we'll continue to follow up with you. So go ahead and check out our registration page and sign up for the next event, which is about leveraging our Qlik Support resources and using our support chat for case intake going forward. That's an exciting new change that is coming to Qlik Support on December 12th. So join our session on December 13th to learn more and to get the best support for your tenant. So that session is linked here in the QR code, and we'd love to see you there. So back to why we are all here today, which is the Management Console. You may hear us you might have seen in the title QMC. Daniele is clarifying that QMC is for our on-premise users, and Management Console is how we lovingly refer to our cloud instance. We ask that you keep your questions relative to today's topic. And while we do have our senior SaaS support engineer on the call, we will not be able to answer any of your questions regarding a specific open case. So by means of introduction, I'm Katie Davis. I will be your moderator for this session. I'm a senior community program manager, bringing support-related events like these to our users and working on various digital channels out on Qlik community. You might have seen me posting on our support updates blog. That's another great place to get support and product news. I'm located in Philadelphia, which is along the East Coast of the United States. Now, I'm joined by the very special Daniele Perrone, who is not only a Q&A with Qlik favorite, a crowd favorite, but he's been with Qlik through all of our great transformations. He's built up quite the expertise over the years. Daniele, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. This is Daniele. I've been working with Qlik since the beginning of 2014. So I'm actually one of the oldest guys in support. And yes, here I am.
Oldest.
I'm ancient. Okay. And well, so compared to many of my colleagues, I've been here for some time, and yes, I am working mostly with Qlik Cloud cases at the moment, and I am also supervising the team when it comes to the support team when it comes to QDA for Qlik Cloud. So I'm I'm here and I have quite some experience around these areas. So let me just check in my app. I'm originally from Italy, but I live in Sweden and I'm based in Sweden, close to the office in Lund. So what can we start with? Let me check what we do have in the chat. We have a question which is, what is the best way to manage space in cloud? Managed equals production. So the main, we're talking about the difference of spaces in spaces. Let me just share my screen so that I can show you. Just a second.
You see it? It's at the bottom there. Share screen.
So, yeah, sharing my screen, and I'm sharing. Let me just share the right thing.
We'll tell you if it's not the right one.
Just let me do the correct thing, because I don't want to share stuff that you are not interested into seeing. So okay, there you go. So you're seeing my browser with Qlik Cloud in it.
Yeah.
And yes, we do have a different kind of spaces which fulfill different purposes. So what you're seeing in a management console is the three kind of spaces. Don't look into the names because I use funny names whenever I need to create ones. That is not important, but we have the shared space, the managed space, and the data space. The question that I have is, what is the best way to manage space in cloud? Managed equals production. So it doesn't have to be that a managed space is a production space. You can still use a managed space for just a specific set of users as compared to all the other spaces, and that doesn't need to be necessarily production. It can also be for testing purposes or any other purposes. But of course, the main purpose of spaces, shared spaces, are spaces where people, usually developers, work together on application that then are going to be published to users into a managed space. So in most of the cases, that's true. Managed spaces are used for production, for presenting the applications that have been developed to users for consuming the applications, while the shared spaces are used for development. Another thing that is important is that data spaces, which sometimes create some confusion because people in most cases think they will be able to upload stuff to data spaces, like if I have an Excel file or anything else, I will upload it here. That's not the case. Data spaces are special spaces that are only meant to be used by RQDI suite. So they're not supposed to contain files that are managed by the users themselves. It's mostly a automated system. So for a while we allowed uploading stuff here, but it's not really what we want people to do. So we terminated that. That was actually a defect in the product. Sorry, that people was allowed to upload stuff here. This is the question about data spaces, about spaces, and what's the difference between them. You also have, of course, the personal spaces of each users. Those spaces don't have a space ID. They are virtual spaces. So everything that is in a personal space doesn't have a space ID associated to it. And that's the the other kind of spaces that we have at the moment. We're going to change something in the product in the future about that, and then specifically about personal spaces, but at the moment, that's how it is. Sorry for my voice.
No, that's great. Thank you. We can still hear you. Feel free to grab water if you need, Danielle. Danielle, no.
Yes, okay.
Okay. So let me pull in some questions. We looked across Qlik community. That's another great place where you guys can ask questions in forums. We have our support engineers scouring all those forums and posts to make sure that they provide solutions for you guys. You can also get solutions from your peers. One of the questions we have here is, who has access to the management console?
The management console can be accessed by people that have some kind of administrator privileges. So a tenant admin will be able to access everything. And then according to the permissions of single users, then we can see according to the admin roles, they will have access to different sections of the management console. So basically, a tenant admin will have everything, and any analytics admin or data admin will have some limited access.
Okay, great. We're getting a lot of audience questions. Thank you, guys. Keep them coming. Put them in the Q&A below. We have a question from Ariel. So where can I put my QBD if not in the data space?
You can put it in any of the other spaces. So if it's personal use, it will be in the personal space. If it needs to be shared, then it can go to the share space, or yeah, that's basically where you will want to put them.
Thank you. And then Louise is asking, what is the main difference between automation and reload tasks? Is that something you can manage from the management console?
Usually not. That's something that you do on the hub, but I can still explain a little bit of the difference. Reload tasks are simple tasks. So you go to any app and you just set up a schedule, and it will just reload at a certain time according to how the schedule was set up. And this is what we've been having from the beginning. With automations, which is a complete new, not complete new, it's been there for some time, but it was not there originally. It's something that we imported when we bought this company and their Blender product. Automations is something that allows us to do lots of things. And one of the things that we're using automations for is creating chains of reloads task, which is a functionality that we were missing in the basic Qlik Cloud. And it's, for instance, missing if you have Qlik Sense Business, because automations is part of enterprise. So basically, with automations, you can create task chains that will allow you to basically set things in a more complex stage reloads in a more complex way than you can do with a simple reload tasks. You can set conditions, you can basically fork reloads. There's really lots of interesting stuff that can be done via automations. In automations, you just don't do reloads. You can do lots of other things. You can do reporting. You can connect to external API endpoints and make things like running an external task on a different product and anything else. So automations is really complex. It's really powerful but for just basic reloads, you can just run a regular schedule and that's fine.
And I'll add, if you're interested in automations, we have Q&A with Qliks on application automation. If you go and look at our past events, we have a ton out there. And then same with Expert Talks, that's also run by my colleague in support. And they do a lot of great, if this is our live office hours. We call Techspert Talks our show and tell. So they show a lot of these cool features. So definitely a great area to look and learn more. We have a question from Ariel. Can you explain the process of allowing access to user for app and space?
Okay, in a space, for instance, you do have a shared space, and you basically manage the members from the management console. And then you actually get out of the management console, because the management console is not doing this part. This is done actually in the analytics hub under the analytics services and under the catalog. So here you add members, you search for members, and then you can define the role that they're gonna have. So you can, when you add a member, you can decide if they can just view the space, if they can consume the data, can manage, or can edit. And that's how you do it. But you trigger it, you can trigger it from the management console, but it's gonna take you out of the management console.
And then along the lines of user management, there was a question in the Qlik community on how to identify users based on their user ID. Everyone give me a user ID.
So basically under users, you have the user ID and you have the IDP subject. The IDP subject is the one that is provided by the IDP. So you might have users with different IDs. I don't really understand the question.
I think you're probably just looking for that field right there, the third column. It looks like that's the list of all user IDs, and then it's attributed to a name and email of someone in your organization. So
the user ID is something that is the ID that we have in Qlik Cloud. So this is internal to Qlik Cloud. The IDP subject.
It's just a unique identifier.
Yeah, exactly. And we can use it whenever there is any problem. We can search for that, or basically that's what defines the user. The IDP subject is what is being provided by the IDP, and that's what is used by their authentication, by what is provided by the authentication system.
Now, is this the place where they go to reassign licenses? We have a question there. They want to reassign who has professional versus analyzer license.
So you do that via the user allocation field, and you do have an overview of what you have assigned, and then you can assign things here. You can remove entitlement, you can add more, and at the moment there is no other, since I don't have any other user in the system, I cannot add more entitlement. But if I remove this one and the user will be deleted, and then I can add it, then I have the option to add it back. I didn't have it before because I had run out of users that I have in the system.
Yes, don't delete yourself while you're in here. That would be.
No, I mean that's external users, so it's fine. I cannot delete, fortunately, the main user, so that's fine.
Great. All right, switching gears on kind of capacity. Someone is asking where to check the current quotas of their tenant with expanded apps and dedicated capacity. I think certain features are at like a cost basis based off of your capacity. So they want.
I mean, you can get it here. You have an overview, and you have a analyzer. You have the capacity for user allocations. I don't have in my tenant dedicated capacity, but otherwise it would show up here, and you will be able to see that here.
A post by Ayaka, who is one of our team leads in our APAC region on Qlik Community. So I will find that resource and I will link it here. with the posting as well that I think shows that little section as well.
Yes.
So thank you. Okay. So, oh, this is a long monitoring, same topic. The question is, as part of our Qlik Sense license, we have a limited number of report generations per month. Can someone explain where in the management console can we monitor these report generations, as well as how I can go about finding the apps which are creating them? I need to make sure we comply with our limits. Is that possible?
At the moment, it's not possible. It's something that it's planned for future releases to provide information about that. At the moment, we're doing, as said, some of the features came from acquisition of other companies. So it was more important for us to bring in the feature like automations, and the reporting is also based, at least in part, on automations. You can also run it independently, but it was more important for us to put out a feature rather than have really everything in place. Things will come. So at the moment, there is no way of seeing that. We are working at the moment together with the account manager. So if we are getting close to your threshold, to your quota, then you're going to receive an email that alerts you that, I mean, not if you're getting close, but if you go beyond, we're not enforcing it at the moment, but you're going to receive that email saying you're going beyond. So let's decide what to do, if you want to, if you need to purchase more or anything. At the moment, there is no enforcement.
And if you want to intermittently check on that, I believe you can just chat with us, and an account manager or customer support engineer will be able to find that information for you, and then just hang tight until we'll be able to display it for you in the management console.
Exactly. As said, that is something coming in the future. So there will be more and more features, but at the moment we're doing it kind of manually.
All right, and we have a question from Rampani. Ciao, Daniele. They must have liked your Italian roots. Is there a disk space limit in the tenant, 1 terabyte or more? Question mark.
The limitation at the moment is for if you have Qlik Sense Enterprise, there is no size limitation in that sense. We do have in-memory limitations for the single apps. For Qlik Sense Business, I think there are quotas, which I don't remember at the moment by memory. But if you look for quotas, Qlik Sense Business, you Google for that, you will get that. So there is some limitations on the size of the apps that you're gonna upload in that sense.
And then Michael is asking, one of the things we are trying to do is get groups from our Active Directory to show up. Can you show what it looks like to assign permissions to a group once we might get that working?
I mean, we do have customers assigning permissions to groups, yes, so it is possible. So if you go to manage members, but this actually depends also on your IDP, how it is configured to send group information, and it also depends on what you need to do in the management console. So you need to be able to create groups, and then different IDPs might have different settings about what to do for the creation of groups and assignments of roles. One thing that is important is that a user our system does not necessarily know all the groups that your user is in. Those gets provided by the IDP in the moment that the user comes in. And that if you, for instance, change the groups while a user is logged in, that will not reflect immediately. And that's what is happening. So the IDP is the key in when it comes to groups. And there is, if you look in the community, there's definitely some articles about how to configure groups. I know that there have been some issues. I don't remember the details now about which system is failing at providing the groups, but we are getting better at that, and that doesn't necessarily concern us, but it might concern the IDP on how the information is sent.
So I'm making a note, Michael. I'll search our community to try to find some more group resources.
We can do it offline maybe, and then
yeah, and we can post it with the recording and
yeah.
that. So, all right, thank you. So, I have a question here. It says, where can I find what version of QSS we're operating on? QSS is Qlik Sense, that's our abbreviation. So are they able to see like what?
I mean, it's always the latest version. We don't have a different versioning for Qlik Cloud, so the version that you're on is the version that we have in production.
Every time you're in, that's what's great about Qlik Cloud, right?
Yeah, and whenever we have new features, I mean, a new version of the engine, they will come first in Qlik Cloud than in any client managed version. So you will know that basically you have the latest version of everything that we do have now.
I'll actually share my screen on a quick resource that I have here. So can you see help.qlik.com, right? See me over here? So this is using the management console, which I just had open. I'm gonna copy this. It's just a quick overview link, but as Daniele was mentioning, all the new versions come to cloud first. It made me think of this what's new in Qlik Cloud tab. So you can just get like a running report in date order of what's new and what are great features with Qlik Cloud. So this is a great page to go to. Okay. And then we had another question that says, are you able to track usage among users? I got this off of Qlik Community, and I had a article pulled up. I would love for you to your comments on this, Daniele, that there's an operations monitoring app. Oh, it looks like this might be for on-premise.
That's for on-premise.
Okay. Is there a way to do that in Qlik Cloud to track usage? It was almost similar to when you were looking at your user dashboard. Are you able to look at that per individual or not?
Okay, what we do have, I can share my screen again. I would recommend using, just a second. So what I recommend using is the, I mean, if you need to pinpoint at a specific time what a user is doing, we don't have anything specifically getting all the information, but a section which is very interesting is the events one. And here you can basically see everything that users are doing. Okay, it's only me at the moment, but you can see what the user has been doing. They come in, they deleted an app, or they deleted a license assignment. You can get the details here. So you expand the field and you will get the information of what the user did. So you can also see when the user accessed the system with the impersonation. You can see when the user started a reload, when an app was opened, and you can get information here. So the ID of the app, this is what we have at the moment.
Great way to catalog.
Yeah.
Could you use this to even troubleshoot in some ways to see what was the last thing that someone did?
Yeah, I mean, you can see it. We had some time ago someone complaining that apps have been deleted by a user or by the system, and then by showing this, we were able to show them which user deleted the app, how they logged into the system, and when they did that and when they deleted the apps. So they were able to track down at least some of the stuff. Or when they trigger an alert or things like that. You can do some stuff here, and that's definitely something which is useful.
Great resource. We have another question here. If the upgrade is pushed by Qlik, how can we justify the qualified and controlled environment, especially for pharma companies, which qualified and controlled environment is mandatory for G5P system?
Yes, that's a question that we're getting. We have some customers requesting that they can stay on a version until they're confident with an upgrade. That is something that might come in the future. You might want to push for that by logging an ID on an ideation page if it's not already there. But at the moment, that's what we offer. And like many other SaaS services, cloud services, there's only one production version because it will be complicated to maintain different versions. There might be a situation where we might implement like a stable release and new feature releases, but at some point we will need to push anyway the new features into the stable one.
Yeah, and if you're interested to see like use cases for Qlik Cloud or your specific industry, we have industry groups on Qlik Community. I'll share the screen real quick. Where you can look into the healthcare, public sector. Something that's just exciting on the security front that just launched was our customer managed keys that we introduced this month. So I'll share this post as well if you're looking to add additional security to your Qlik Cloud. So slightly off topic, but definitely a great resource to look into. All right. Now, I have only one more question that I got from Qlik Community. So if you guys want your question answered, you came to get your question answered and you haven't typed it yet, go ahead and put it in the Q&A below so we can make sure that we can tackle it while we have Daniele, who is our most senior expertise. We won't say the oldest, like you said earlier. You've been here the longest. You've seen a lot of issues being in support. So the last question I have here is, I'm recently new to Qlik Sense and migrating from a free trial. The free tier account had a management console tab where extensions and JSON themes could be updated. Is this stored in a different location in the SaaS version, and or does this not come standard? So I think they're looking to change themes, add extensions.
So we do have extensions and themes also in cloud. So they are there in the management console. Just a second. And so you are seeing this, and that's exactly where we do have themes and extensions. At the moment, I don't have any extensions, but you can just get any extension from our developer portal and add it here. What I recommend is checking that the extensions and also the themes are tested for Qlik Cloud. So let me see, Qlik developer extensions. Second, because transition extensions, and where do I have, sorry, yeah, that's developer portal, and you can have in the garden, you can have any kind of extension. What is important is that whenever used in cloud, it shows QCS tested yes, because if not tested, it might misbehave in the cloud because the developer who made this extension might have not. They probably just work on the client managed version. They didn't test it on cloud. And so on cloud, please use only QCS tested extensions that the developer certified for QCS. And of course, these extensions are not supported by Qlik. They are supported by the developer. So if you have any issue, you can reach out to them directly via their probably GitHub page and ask them to provide you support on the extension. The same thing is for teams. You can get a team, make sure that it's that is going to work with Qlik Cloud services, because if it's just developer for client managed, might not work in the cloud.
All right, we have another audience question. So people are getting in their last minute question. Is it possible to show and hide specific apps from managed space to specific users based on access?
From managed space, I mean, if you publish an app to a managed space and you have users in that managed space, you're expecting to have users being able to access those applications. So usually you're not able to. You're not able to hide them from them. What you will need to do is publish them to a different space where that user doesn't have access. Or you can still publish them to that space, and but then denying users access via section access is not probably the best experience for the user, because they're going to see the application, they're going to click on it, and maybe because they think they have access to it, and then they're going to be denied by section access. But that is still something that you can do. So you can have a section access specifically in an app, and deny access in that way.
Okay. And then going back to the question before, there's another question on extensions. Can you show where to search for different extensions and the description about them?
Yes, it was here in the developer portal,
which is
developer.qlik.com. And
which I think if you just type in qlik.dev, it takes you to the, oh wait, no, different.
Now, Qlik Dev is something different. It's something specifically for developers. It's about our APIs tools, and for instance, the Qlik command line. It's a completely unrelated things. It's tutorial, APIs examples, APIs descriptions. It's more about the APIs and the command line. Okay. The developer, yes, it can be confusing, similar names, but the developer portal is about, stuff which is hosted, like extensions or other stuff that can be used.
Great, and I posted that link to the developer.qlik.com with the note showing here. So that's in the chat. All right. We have another question. Is there any limitations in the number of alerts or subscriptions implemented by the end users?
There is no limitations for that you can set up about the single end user. There is a very high limitation for of how many subscriptions or alerts you can get per day. I think it might be 10,000. I just let me check if I find it.
That's quite a high limit.
I think it's 10,000 per day per tenant.
Oh, wow.
So I just want
So
to
more than anyone would
confirm
ever want.
Yeah, we have had actually some customers hitting that, but I just want to be sure about the number because maybe I'm wrong. I think it's gonna need to be something that I check offline. Maybe
Okay.
put that it. But it is a very high number, and it's very unusual that someone hits that number because I mean we need to set a limit, of course, because there might always be spammers or other issues, but yeah, we're gonna check it offline and add it to the description at the end, but there is a chance it's 10,000.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So that is the questions for today's session. Danielle, I feel like you need to get up and stretch and have a drink. It's been a long afternoon for you answering all these questions. We really appreciate your expertise on this. I'm going to go ahead and share. I'll roll out the red carpet to show some really cool resources out on Qlik community. So of course we have our help.qlik.com where you can go and look at all of the details on working with Qlik Cloud, what's new. Then if you go to community.qlik.com, that is where we live, both myself and Daniele. He and a team of many senior support engineers are crawling these forums, and they're answering your questions in all of our Qlik Cloud. We even have a team for data integration engineers, and they're looking across these forums to answer your questions. We have our support dropdown. So if you go to Qlik community and hit support, you can find our support updates blog right at the bottom under product news. That's where you can get updates on product news, new releases, any outages. That's where you can go for that information. You can contact Qlik Support by clicking right here. That is what will open that chat for you to chat with all of our live agents. So you'll see it pop up right here. This is our chat bot. You can always get to an agent through that method, and you can also manage cases as well by clicking here. So check that out. Q&A with Qlik, we've moved. We're not under support dropdown. If you want to find us, we're now under blogs and events. If you go to events, we're the top expert-led ones right here. So Techspert Talks is what I mentioned earlier. That is run by my colleague Troy. That's an incredible resource with a lot of different topics and sessions you can go out and review. And then we have our Q&A with Qlik. You can see the upcoming sessions are here, December 13th, support chat and resource channels. And then in the new year, we're going to talk about Qlik Cloud reporting. There's a lot of nice, exciting things on the roadmap there. So we have our product team coming to speak on that. The reporting will be here in our past sessions. You can see every month to date in the past is there. And if you click on one of the past ones, you can go ahead and watch the recording. And we also post any links and questions down here. So this is the place where you can jump right in and get an answer right to your question. We always catalog that for you. So thank you everyone for joining. We loved having you here. We can't wait to see you next time. Daniele, we really appreciate your time. We know you're a busy guy.
I just wanted to add one thing. I had actually, when we were thinking before about the access of users, I had forgotten about the monitoring apps that we do have. We have 4 monitoring apps. I'm just going to share very quickly my screen.
I recently posted about them on the support updates blog, so something to do.
I mean, I was thinking about the management console, and then I thought, okay, we don't have it in the management console, but we do have apps. So this is by you, Katie.
Yeah.
And this is the access evaluator. And here you can see the access of single users. And then we have the app analyzer for this analyzes the specific of the apps. This is the third one is the reload analyzer, which will get some information about reloads. And this is also the entitlement analyzer. So you can get some information. I mean, these applications, you will need to set up, to follow the guide and set it up. And they are provided as they are, so they're not supported, but they can still be used to get information about your tenant.
Yeah, it's created by a small but mighty developer team here at Qlik, so they're not supported in our supportability features. But if you have questions, you can comment on all of those posts, and they're always monitoring it and providing upgrades as well. I will also link in the posting the knowledge article that we have with all of those listed, so you can easily jump into those 4 key things that Daniele just highlighted. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. And also another shout out to the support updates blog, right? All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Have a great week, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.